my dad preaches a little different than I do, or not that I do, but speaks a way different than I do. So I want to get real with you tonight, get into the message, and hopefully, God hits home in your heart. So tonight I want to speak to you on letting go. And I'm not talking about the movie Frozen either. Okay. There was more kids here that you'd get a bigger laugh out of that one. But I'm talking about just letting it go. And letting it go is a term we all need to learn and apply it to our lives. Like I said, I'm still growing in my relationship with God. And I need to practice more of letting it go. So how many of you have here who know Jesus Christ? Give me a show of hands. Most of you here do already. Well, good. I'm glad for those of you who do. Let me ask you something else. How many of you have social media? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and that? Gotcha. By the way, I haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see you. Guys, how many of you guys play sports? Basketball, football? Yeah, I know you do. I know you gotta be playing, because you tall. You ladies, you girls? Yeah, and you ladies, I'm pretty sure there's a laundry list of things you all do, but I'm just gonna cut it down to just gossip. How many of you call and text your friends and gossip? No? Not yet? All right. Well, we can all relate to these things, but how much time do you spend on those things? Have you thought about that? A couple hours a day? I bet you those of you at work ain't got nothing to do. You guys are on Facebook all day long. Yeah? 3 hours, 4 hours? He's probably on it right now. Well, these are everyday things that we don't realize that distract us. Well, for those of you who have Jesus in your lives and have accepted Him, how much time do you spend with Him? How much time do you Facebook Him? How many times do you take selfies with Him? Not many. Well, let me dig a little deeper on here. Have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you're cornered in life? And no matter whatever you're going through, whatever situation that you're in, whether you turn left or right, you just can't seem to find a solution. When times get tough for you mentally, you start feeling weight on your shoulders. Whether it's school or friendships or relationships, anxiety, or just anything that you sit there at home and just close the door and you just start dwelling on it for hours. Oh man, he broke up with me. I can't believe it. You sit there crying in your room for hours. Well, these are distractions that keep us unfocused from God. And during these times that we have, we begin to focus on these negative things. We focus on ourselves. We focus on our own understanding and our personal feelings. Now the Bible tells us not to, right? Well, we spend so much time on these when we should be focused on God. You see, sometimes God allows us to be in certain situations, and perhaps because maybe He's calling you. Maybe He's giving you attention. Maybe He wants you to, give up. Fall down to your knees and let me in your heart. I know these things. I was one who was never focused on God. For the majority of my life, I never did. I used to come to church, and I quit. I quit everything. Everything that I had going on, I was focused on myself, my selfishness, my own feelings, my own understandings. Things things that I tried to control in my life. You know, what benefited me? So when these times hit, we have to learn in those moments of vulnerability to turn to God and stay focused on God. I had to learn the hard way. And I was hard-headed with God. You know, I didn't realize this, but Christy was telling me the story of Moses. You know, my dad's a pastor, and I got someone else schooling me on the Bible. But I understood it, and it was just like I understood that God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and it felt like that's what He did to me, and I was just hard-headed with God. I would never turn to God. I always tried to control my own situations. I was driving my own car. I always wrecked. So I chose the hard way. And that's the beauty of God. He allows us to make our own decisions, to choose our own route. Which route are we going to go? Are we going to go His route, or are we going to go our own route? And man, it was always fun to go my route. At least that's what I thought. So I've learned through my own experience in life that I can't take control of my life. I can't be happy driving my own bus. I can't take control and expect myself to be happy or to be at peace, because I never was. I was always empty inside. So, but in order for you to be happy and to achieve that, you have to learn to let it go. Let everything go. And let God take control. And to remain focused on Him. See, God wants you to be fully committed to Him at all times. Not only in your joy and your happiness, but also when you're lonely, when you start feeling sad, anxiety, when you start feeling, there's no one there that likes me. When there's no one there to listen to me, God is always there. See, God has a plan. He's got a plan and a purpose for every single one of you here tonight. I know it, because He had a plan and a purpose for me. And I'm still learning. But tonight I want to take a moment and speak on Peter a little bit. See, I've been doing my own studying on Peter here lately. One night I was asleep, and around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, He woke me up and He said, "I want you to speak on Peter." And so Peter's been on my mind. So the following day, I just started, just trying to read, and I just looking for answers on Peter. And I learned about Peter. So He wanted me to speak to you on this, but not only for you, but for myself as well. See, like I told you, I'm still learning and growing my relationship with God. And every day, my walk with God is a little bit easier. My relationship with Him gets a little bit stronger. And I can always turn and rely on Him now. No matter what situation it is. Whether if I feel bad, sick, or if something's on my mind, I can turn to God and rely on Him. Well, back to Peter here. Peter, he was one of the first followers of God, or Jesus Christ. He was an outspoken disciple. He was enthusiastic and he was passionate for Jesus. And he was one of Jesus' closest friends. And he was also a fisherman. And fishermen, back in the day, that was his profession. That's what he did for a living. But I'm gonna jump a little bit. But on the day that Jesus fed 5,000, Jesus finds out that one of his other friends, he's talking about John, had died. And And so Jesus, he gets upset. He gets sad, and he wants to mourn. So he wants to leave his disciples, and he wants to go to an area where he can go and mourn and pray. So he leaves them behind. But as he goes off to go mourn and pray, people start hearing that Jesus was near. Jesus was a rock star. So he had his groupies. And so they started to follow him. They were right behind him walking. What is he going to do next? And so the more people found out, and they started following him some more. And escalated to about 5,000 people. So Jesus, he ends up attending to these people, to his followers. He preached to them. He fed them. He took care of them. But he still wanted to mourn for John. But he can't do it just yet. So he finally decides to, he tells his disciples, look, why don't you get in the boat and you go to the other side of the Sea of Galilee while I dismiss my crowd. And I go mourn. So the disciples, they get in the boat and they just take off. And God turns to his followers, he prays with them, again, dismisses them. And after he does so, Jesus finally gets the opportunity to go up on a mountain to go pray and mourn. But he's up there by himself. He starts praying. And I don't know about you, but I probably couldn't do it. But he prayed for hours. And I'd probably fall asleep. I'd be kneeling down out there just... But Jesus prayed. And I imagine he went up there in the afternoon or in the evening. So at this time, the disciples, they go off in the sea. Storms begin to come. And he's still up there praying. And the disciples are out there, and they're wondering, man, when is Jesus going to come? He kind of left us out here cold. And so Jesus, he's out there for hours again, like I said. He's out there till like 3 to 6, from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, praying. They call that the fourth watch. And I guess that's the term they used when fishermen were out there. You take the first watch, second watch, third watch, and fourth watch. And so the the disciples, they're out there, they're rowing their boats. They're going, they're listening to God. They're going to the other side.